Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Roundup. My name is Dan, and this is where we go over financial situations that people are asking about that are floating around in the internet. And with me here today is
Khadija, I will never get over how he sounds like a game show host. But today, you guys, we are talking about mothers and debt. This is our Mother's Day special episode. So let's go.
Only If the Price Is Right.
I don't know what that reference is from.
The Price Is
Maybe
Right?
I don't know.
Oh, my.
Not that old. Okay, Dan. So Mother's Day is coming up. We're both very close to our mothers.
Yes, I'm a mama's boy.
I love my mother. She's my best friend. So I read this news report on debt.com that a lot of people are going into debt to buy their mother's present. And this is what the headline reads: Debt is the worst Mother's Day gift. And I agree. The Mother's Day spending is predicted to hit a record high this year. What are you getting your moms? Tell us in the comments. What are you getting your mom?
I usually get her some flowers. Then I provide manual labor fixing her garden up for the year, and then maybe cook something.
What are you going to cook?
Probably something on the grill.
Uh,
Actually, I asked her what she wanted. She wanted some chicken wings. So we're going to make some chicken wings.
I'm obsessed with chicken wings right now. I'm getting my mother a subscription to Kindle because she loves reading. That's that. And I'm probably not going to see her this year because she lives in a different country. I live in a different country. But that's what we're getting our moms. Let us know what you're getting your moms. And then I wanted to talk about some interesting stories I came across
Let's,
about
let's dive in.
mothers. And would you ever pay your mom's debt?
Yes,
You would? I would too.
I support some of her debt right now.
We love that. Okay. So the first story that this was a positive one. And I never come across positive stories on Reddit. So I was like, we have to talk about this. So this one says, should I pay mother's credit card debt as a gift? Yes. But let's read it. Hi, would love to know if this is a reasonable decision. My mom's 15th birthday is coming up and I would love to pay her credit card debt, $22,000 as a gift. I am a recent college grad and have been working for a little over a year now. This would wipe out most of my high-yield savings account. My mom was a single mother and gave everything she could to my brother and I. All of our credit card debt can be tied back to expenses related to one of us. I know this is risky because it will wipe my savings account, but it feels like the right thing to do since most of her cards have under 25% APR and she doesn't make enough to put a significant dent in it. Also, since I am able to work from home during this pandemic, I have been living with her and helping with minor bills. I know I could replenish my liquid savings account quickly, but I also don't want to make a move that is financially damaging. This will have no impact on my 401k savings. It would be helpful to hear advice or from people who have given similar gifts to their parents. What do you think?
First of all, I love this person, that they have a great relationship with their mom and understand that she got probably in a credit card debt because of them. And that's a definite factor. Our mom did that as well. But I also have some questions that we might not be able to answer here.
As a
Was it all responsible spending, right? Does your mom have a good habit with her credit card? And by paying it off, will that eliminate her credit card forever, or will it just climb back up to $22,000 in a few years or a couple of months? So those are my initial questions. By helping your mom pay off her credit card, I think that's a great idea. I think it's a horrible idea to wipe out your savings account. I know you have a 401k, but this person also lives with their mother,
yes,
right?
and
So
works from home.
I would figure out that standard emergency fund rule that they have, 6 months of bills, right? And if you can save more, great, which I hope $22,000 is more than 6 months of your bills, but then include that with your mother's bills, right? If something happened, can you support to pay that? Because you don't want to pull out of your 401k.
No.
So what I would definitely recommend here, or what I would do if this was my situation, is I would probably restructure that debt, even though it's under 20%, they said. If it's not in the single digits, which even though the market's really high in regards to what interest rates are today, but you can probably get in the single digits, if not just in the low double digits to actually just refinance all of that debt, consolidate it, and maybe close some of those credit card accounts just so it doesn't fall into this specific situation again. And then maybe put a chunk of that $22,000, whatever is additional to your 6 months of expenses, towards that specific debt, and then just knock it out right away. If you got a job, you're out of college, hopefully you're making a decent amount of money, you pay that off, hopefully maybe within a year or two, and just get that wiped away. Then you still have money in the bank if something happens, because we all know life throws curveballs no matter who you are, and having that cushion won't put you into more credit card debt.
See, this is why I love talking to Dan about these things, because I would just be like, okay, pay it off. And now he's given you a whole plan. I also love some of the comments. This one said another option might be to pay half of it. That will let her continue to make her current payments with much more going to principal, and thus pay them off significantly sooner and save a good chunk of interest while still leaving you with a decent chunk in your savings account.
This reminds me of like those stories you hear online of someone winning the lottery and then being broke years later because they've never had that type of money. They don't know how to manage it. Usually when you see wealthy people, that entrepreneurs or someone that's trading stocks, or knows finances very well, someone that's just very savvy with personal finances, that money keeps growing because they continue to pivot and move their finances to where it needs to be. Where if you give a gift of paying off someone's debt, that might not always solve the problem, right? They're going to be back in that situation right away. You have to teach them how to get into that situation or become more financially responsible. But based off of this specific story, it didn't seem like his mom was financially irresponsible. It seemed like she got herself in this hole because of kids and expenses. But I still wouldn't just pay it off right away. I'd work together in terms of solving the problem and obviously bring a lot of the support if you're now producing income and you want to pay your mom back.
We love that. I have 2 things to say about this. This goes back to our last episode where we were talking about debt and how it's more about emotions than money. Also, if I won the lottery, I would pick up the check, full mask, so nobody knows it's me. I would tell them not to publish my name, so nobody knows I won money. And then I just go about my natural life, work here, whatever, and tell nobody. I would tell no one that I won money.
Why don't you just say who you are and then tell everyone no?
I can't do that.
No, sorry.
I would never say no to somebody who asked me for money, right? I would give away money. But full mask. What would be the first thing you buy if you won the lottery?
Buy?
Yeah, I know what I would buy.
I'd pay off some of the debt I have.
Okay.
That's probably the first thing I would do.
That's smart.
It depends on how much money, right? If it was like millions and millions of dollars, take a vacation first, just
Okay.
for time off. And then, because once you get a boatload of cash, you're like, oh, what can I buy? What's the first thing I could buy? That's probably the worst thing to do. So I take a vacation and think about
Okay.
what's the best thing to buy.
Okay.
And then what I've learned from reading a lot of books, listening to a lot of podcasts, is allow your cash flow to buy your luxuries, right? So instead of getting $1 million and spending $100,000 on a car, right? You invest that $1 million, on average can maybe return 8%, that's $80,000. And then that income that you're producing from that $1 million, buy the luxury item, right? Whether it's finance, because most of the time with $1 million, you're earning much more than what an interest rate would cost, or what it would actually cost in interest in regards to what you're financing. But that's how I would do it. Does that make sense?
Okay, it does. I would hire a personal financial person. They're very expensive. Last time I got my first salary and I contacted one and they were like, you don't make enough money. What fixed 0%? But that's the first thing I would do. And then I would invest a lot of it in real estate because that's where you make a lot of
I had a sales job when I was 19 and I sold cars, and the person I sold the car to was a financial advisor. And then he took me to the side after I sold him a car, and he's like, let's talk about your financial future. I'm like, sure. I gave him the time of day. And then he was asking me to put, I don't know, 50% of my income at the age of 19, where I was still very broke, but making more money than a lot of my friends just because I wasn't working at McDonald's or anything like that compared to some of my friends. But I was just like, there's no way I can give 50% of my income right now to that. So that's what made me actually want to learn more about personal finances. So I'd probably more than likely manage my own finances.
I know about this story. I know what company they work for. We were not going to say who or what, but I feel like they're like salespeople too.
Of course.
Salespeople too. They have a fancy title, financial advisor.
I think everyone has to be a salesperson.
Yeah.
in my
Okay.
opinion.
Moving on to a story that's not so great, but let's read it. So, would I be the asshole if I refused to clear my mom's debt, leaving her and my siblings homeless? So the last time we read one of these stories, Dan said asshole. But let's read this one.
Sure, dive in.
My mother got herself into an MLM scheme,
MLM scheme.
like a multi-level marketing.
Yeah. Okay. Got
Okay.
it.
Last year, despite my brother and I warning her against it, she quit her job because the MLM scheme people told her this was her chance to become an entrepreneur and independent. My dad is supporting her financially now and my 4 younger siblings. She pretty much gave up on the oils after selling them to everyone she knows. She still has a lot more left to sell, but now she wants to do something else because she doesn't feel like she's her own boss under this MLM company. She overestimated how many people want to buy her product, and now she's thousands in debt. She won't get a job, and my dad can't afford to pay it off without selling the house and the car. My brother has 3 kids in private school. He doesn't have much money to spare. I'm on maternity leave, and the amount she needs will wipe out my savings, and I'd have to use my husband's money as well to cover this debt, which I don't think is fair. Especially since she doesn't want to get a job after this debt is cleared because she's an entrepreneur at heart. And working for someone's company is soul crushing. She wants to open a food truck even though they aren't popular in the town she lives in and always go out of business. My mom isn't a bad cook, but she's competing with professional chefs, and I'm sure she'll give up as soon as it gets hard. My dad says he plans to sell the house and his car and move his tenants out of the apartment he owns. My mom called me crying because she loves her neighborhood and has lived here for 35 years. He says I'm selfish and evil for not paying her debt because she'll pay me back when she expands her food truck business. She doesn't understand why I don't use my husband's money, since he won't notice it's gone. My mom has threatened not to allow me to see my younger siblings who I'm close with, and to have me exiled by my entire family. Would I be the asshole if I refuse to clear this debt, even though I could because my mom's threatening it?
Mom, I love you, but in this situation, first of all, there's a lot of things going on.
Too many.
If she expects her husband to pay off the debt, why don't you ask your husband to pay off the
No,
debt?
the husband is gonna pay off the debt, but he has to sell the car and the house, and also he has apartment buildings. He's gonna move everybody out and sell that to pay off this debt. How much is the debt, first of all?
Yeah, there's always a game plan you can do and always structure something. I feel if she's really an entrepreneur at heart, there's always a way to figure out the financial problem, right? It might not be the best scenario or a good scenario, but there's always a way in a game plan to do.
Her
Yeah.
game plan is asking her daughter for money.
Yeah, and it seems like her wanting to start another business, but just, hey, wipe away my mistakes from the past
Yeah,
doesn't make sense. First of all, any MLM pyramid scheme, whatever that scenario is. I remember I actually had a friend, or Nick and I had a friend that was selling like energy drinks or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
Say, hey, if you buy it and then your friends buy it and then their friends buy it, we all get rich. And we're just like, dude, get rid of this right now
Exactly.
and stop. Which he did, which was a good thing. But
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like their mom has an entrepreneurial mindset when she's looking for a way out.
Mhm.
Although I want to be as supportive as I possibly can be, but being that my mom would call me, what does she call her? Or disowner or whatever?
Selfish.
Selfish, right?
Yeah.
Um,
You're about to have a baby. You're
It's-
maternity leave.
it's time for you to be the parent to your parents. And that's what occurs as you get older and have your own kids. And maybe your parents start getting a little senile and things like that happen. But it's time to parent them in today's environment in a way and help them through the process because no one wants to deal with that alone. Being vocal about your finances, I feel like is super important. Like with any marriage from our previous episodes, just set up a game plan, right? Obviously, you have savings, your husband has savings.
But
It's
why
set,
is it her responsibility to fix her mom's problem? Especially after her mom is threatening her.
I
She
still,
doesn't sound like a good mom to me.
if it was like your cousin or your uncle, I'd get it. But if it's your mom, that's your family, right? You have to help them figure out their tough situations. Not saying, hey, become the charity to their problems, but help them restructure, figure out if the dad has some type of equity in terms of this house and whatnot, home equity loan. I don't know. Those are different scenarios, right? Finding a way to restructure that to have a manageable amount of debt and then sure, start your business, but all of a sudden they're
Don't start a
seriously
business. Stay home. That's what you need to do.
food trucks. I mean, I've never owned one, but I see them. I worked in the back of a kitchen before, and
Have you
I don't want
really?
any part of
What?
that. I worked at a pizza restaurant. That's my
Okay.
first job. I was an inspired chef when I was a kid. I worked there for 3 weeks. And I realized, no, this is the place. I'm getting out of here. Sitting in the back of a hot kitchen. Yeah, spent all day shredding mozzarella.
I love how Dan always has like a clear path of who he is and what he wants to do. I
Work.
Have you ever been approached by an MLM?
In some cases, like there's like that. There's the nice.
What? No.
There you go. I think they target students and stuff like
They
that.
target students. Yeah.
Yeah. Have I seen success in it personally? No. You always see it online, and I just don't believe that. I'm sure there are people out there. There's always that one person that's committed to it, grinding it out. But if you have that mentality, you can start your own business and have much more success throughout that. I also think, I don't know, I feel like insurance is like kind of
I
MLM.
got pet insurance today.
We'll talk about that another time. But I've never seen anyone successful with MLM. And I think most average people don't have the capacity with time and effort on top of managing their probably regular job to be successful at it. You really, like any entrepreneur knows that they have to go all in eventually. Maybe not day one, but eventually have to go all in, risk a lot of things to become successful, which most cases you're sold on. Oh, this can be on the side. You can make thousands of dollars, whatnot. There's plenty of other things you can do online that don't cost you anything that you can build content around or resources or learn a skill to make a side hustle. Yeah.
Do you think there are MLM owners or not? People who do MLMs are entrepreneurs, like they like to call themselves?
The good ones definitely have that mentality. I don't know if they're good people. Like,
No, it's like a
can-
mentality, sure. But do you
Yeah.
think they're entrepreneurs?
I think you have to be because it's a sales job where you're strictly based off of commission, right?
Yeah.
Very similar
But then
to,
you have to buy all of the product beforehand.
yeah, that's where your entrepreneurial mindset should kick in and negotiate. Hey, I only pay for what I sell.
And one thing I would really like to say, if you are watching this and if you are considering an MLM, just don't.
Yeah.
They always target military people, like military wives who are just home by themselves, and students who don't know any better, like Cut Coach tried with me. But I was smart enough to tell them, get out of my face.
I'm
Just
sure
don't do
most
it.
people are smart enough, but then people that
Now
are,
they are, but so many people. And this wasn't even the first MLM that approached me. People have tried before. I thought, oh, I'd meet a new friend on Instagram. No, they're in my DMs. Hey, girly, do you want to know about this opportunity? I'm like, blocked.
and they always want you to sell to your family and friends first.
I'm not selling anything to my family. Let's get that clear. Okay, so the next story, we're going back to our roots. Let's go back to our roots. What are our roots before?
Am I the asshole or
No, what are our roots here at Changed?
helping people do that differently, right? So
No, but like roots. How did we start?
How did we start?
Student loans.
Student loans. Oh,
Let's talk
okay.
about
I
Parent
know a lot
Plus
about
loans.
student loans.
We do.
I'm very familiar with Parent Plus loans too.
Yeah, that's why I want to talk about this.
Okay.
So, am I the ass? Also, am I the asshole? We're talking about that. I love this subreddit. Am
I
I
can
the
tell.
Am I the asshole for refusing to pay my mom back $150,000?
In Parent Plus loans, yeah, you're an asshole. If they're yours,
Okay. Do
I-
we need even?
end of story.
Do we read this?
Give me the summarized
There's
version.
like-
It looks like it's a long story here, right?
Okay, so she knew that her mom was taking out Parent Plus loans, and she was like, "Sure, I'll help you pay him off, and I'm off age." And she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be so rich once I graduate." And then she didn't become super rich after graduation. Who would have guessed?
Yep.
She's making $15 an hour. And now her mom wants her to like be an adult and start paying off the debt that she signed up for. And she's like, I don't want to.
I want to see the comments here. But yeah, you're the asshole. I have a Parent Plus
no,
loan.
but this is her reason. Her mom is already like living life. She's good. She gets child support from her dad, who she
Child
gets
support for her?
Child
Obviously
support for her.
No, obviously she's out of child support.
No, she gets child support for her. And then she was like, yeah, but I never saw
Alimony.
a penny from that child support. And I was like,
The food that came into your mouth.
that was child support. And then she also has a rich husband, owns 4 cars, and her stepdad frequently buy each other lavish gifts. They're married. They get to do that for each other. You don't get to mooch off of them.
If you become successful and have 4 cars, then you have to understand how to pay off $150,000
Wait.
before you even get in there.
We have a TDLR. When I was 17, I told my mom, "Where you well off? Over 200K combined household salary. I would pay back 150K in student loans she took out in her own name for me. But after reflecting on my shitty childhood and being literally unable to pay her back, I now refuse to pay back a single cent. Am I the asshole? Yes."
Yeah, I have Parent Plus loans, or my mom has Parent Plus loans. That comes out of my bank account every single day that I manage it. I'm almost done paying off. Yeah, it's a bitch. Sorry for my language. One thing that really frustrated me, so when I was going to school, I was technically living on my own, but since I was under the age of 24, I was considered a dependent unless I was married or in the military. I had zero support from my mom, my stepdad. I was paying all of my own bills, working 60 hours a week and going to school. And I couldn't get the financial aid I needed to finish school. So they forced me to do Parent Plus loans, which I almost every time, I think I took twice the amount of time than every other student in there because I was always negotiating with the financial aid advisor, which they absolutely, I think, despised me after a few semesters. Because all of a sudden, once I maxed out all of my Parent Plus loans, my federal loans, and I didn't take out private loans, but I have a ton of federal loans, they all of a sudden came out with grants. They're like, oh, here's some extra cash that we have. And I just found that just boiled my blood, right? But if you're not negotiating with a financial advisor while you're in college, especially if you're freaking working, and then you also have a blessing from your parents to sign a freaking house, maybe not a house in these days, but like half of a house, $150,000, take that as a blessing, just that you have that opportunity to have the capability. Because most people, they can't even take out that much. Their parents don't make that much. Their parents won't even sign a Parent Plus loan for them. But let's dive into some comments. I'd love to hear this.
They're all calling you an asshole.
Yeah, of course.
They're not even being nice about it. Yeah, I think that's what's also because her mom is well off. That's what's hurting her.
I'm assuming she's living at home making $15 an hour.
No.
No, that was the last story.
Yeah.
We didn't read this story fully.
No, she doesn't live at home.
She doesn't live at home, but
No.
she's making $15 an hour?
Yeah.
No, that's her
That's
mom's.
the mom's husband,
Mom's
not her. She's unmarried like me. Check out the latest episode that we did. But yeah,
Definitely the asshole. Definitely need to get your shit together.
it just sounds like you're making excuses not to pay your mom back.
Yeah.
You took out a debt and it's your moral
And
responsibility.
just to have that expectation, while you're making $15 an hour out of college,
Mhm.
you definitely had a good childhood. There's no doubt about it.
No, she's saying she had a shitty childhood.
Yeah, I know,
I think
but I call BS on that.
you're minimizing her trauma, and you shouldn't do that. Never
I'm
mind.
sorry.
I'm just anticipating the comments, and I'm like,
I think also good parents minimize your trauma. It's one
Yeah.
aspect or another.
they do.
I get to work.
And then,
So let's talk. Do we have more information in regards to getting into debt for Mother's Day? Like this article that you share that we were talking about.
yes, the debt.com article.
Yes.
Okay. So most people are saying they might take on debt buying Mother's Day gifts in a lending tree poll. 1 in 3 Americans. Would you go into debt to buy your mom?
As I said, no.
I wouldn't.
I think my mom would love a lavish gift or something like that, which I'd probably get her more of a gift for her birthday compared to Mother's Day. I think Mother's Day, Father's Day is just a time to hang out, spend some time together, tell your mom, Father's Day, Dad, whatever, that you appreciate them, write them a letter, give them a hug, get them some flowers, get them maybe their favorite food or something. I don't know, under $100, if that, even if that, under $20, it could be free, right?
Our
Just
executive producer, always Nick, who's behind the camera right now, always calls these holidays Hallmark holidays. And that's what they're.
Valentine's Day is like the most Hallmark holiday out there, but
Every holiday is the most Hallmark holiday.
yeah. I learned a valuable lesson from my wife. I was never really like a card writer, letter writer,
Yeah.
Uh,
Now you are.
but now I definitely am. And actually, if I'm broke, I'll just write a letter, right? Yeah, I wrote Nick a nice birthday letter. I never even wrote Nick a letter before.
That is so sweet.
And one is because, I don't know, I guess for me, it's just hard to share certain things because the way I was raised, right? But and another thing is just like expressing gratitude for somebody, I think is more valuable. Spending time. I think the older you get, the more you realize spending time with someone, just hanging out, going out to dinner, something like that is more fun than buying a freaking car, an expensive purse, paying off debt. Like, sure, we're all in this financial. Most Americans, most people are not in great financial situations. So it's not going to solve your problem by getting them something that's just like materials, right?
And
Like,
maybe this statistic will help you. 1 in 5 moms told Lending Choose pollsters they were disappointed by Mother's Day gifts in the past. So just don't do it.
I think Mother's Day gifts in the past are disappointed because their kids just aren't doing anything. Or, hey, mom, I bought you, I don't know, what would you buy your mom? Some skincare products or
Makeup.
some flowers or whatever. Flowers are nice, but they're not like,
I've never got my mom flowers.
but hanging out with them, I think they'd be more appreciative of that. Taking them somewhere that they like, going for a freaking walk, free and good for your health. I don't know. That's my opinion of it. I think 1 out of 5 moms, their kid probably didn't live near them, sent them something from Amazon and said, hey, happy Mother's Day.
Here's the thought of what you could get your mom for Mother's Day. If she has that, you could get her an annual change subscription.
Yeah, you can sign up for change to help pay off her debt.
Dad was like, let's not plug in Changed a lot. And I was like, why not?
We can talk about it, but
Yeah.
I think it's just more along the lines of,
We're not trying to sell you anything. We're just making you aware that it exists.
we have this great MLM scheme that we've been talking about.
Don't even, why are you joking about it?
Because that's how always the conversation starts. It's a great opportunity when you meet someone that's trying to sell you
If
something.
somebody
Good,
says
that's
great
good.
opportunity, hang up the phone on them. Don't even talk to them. And it's for our show today.
Awesome.
I hope you learned a lot.
Thanks for watching.
Leave us some
Like,
comments. Tell me what you're getting your mom.
subscribe, download the Change app and tell us how you love it or hate it, but I think you'll love it. Check it out.